Hi, welcome to Chapter 2 of the Rodeo Management System demo. In this chapter, we will be covering setting up events and rodeos. So after you have had your account created, the next step will be to set up the events that will be included in your future rodeos. So we will go to the admin system, and from the menu, we will choose Rodeo Setup, Manage Events. So you can see the 13 events already in this demo account. And from here, you can easily add a new event by clicking the Add a New Event button, or edit any of the existing events simply by clicking the Edit button next to the event. We will cover the settings most commonly used. For our example, we will simply edit the barrel racing event and have a look at the information here. So you can name the event anything you want to. The draw sort order sets the order in which the events appear in reports, such as in the draw, in the announcer sheet, in judges' cards, etc. The entry fee, this is the default entry fee, and that amount will be included in the payout purse. It is also possible to set entry fees on the per rodeo level. The display fee is a special use field. If you have a different entry fee that you charge for this event at your finals rodeo, you would set that here. If this is a timed event, so if your scoring for the event is based on time, in which the lowest time equals the highest placement, then check this button. If it is a rough stock event, typically scored event, then you would leave this unchecked. As this is a timed event, we will leave it checked. If it's a team event, then you would check the team event button and enter in roll 1, roll 2 typically, such as team roping would have header and heeler as roll 1 and roll 2. Some junior rodeo associations use something called a parent partner. There is a possibility to set up a 3-person team event in this as well. If your association charges penalty points, if a particular rule infraction occurs during this event, you would check the penalty box. If this is a event that no money is paid out, there is no return of the entry fees based on placings and only points are calculated, you would set it as a no pay event. To not show this event in the draw, such as if this event is being used for other sort of non-rodeo things such as horse stall rentals or that type of thing, then it will not appear in the draw, but it will still be a selection on the entry form, so you can allow people to do that, to book things such as campsites or horse stalls. If you wish it to be a non-entry event so that only the admin can add this event and the charges associated with it to the entrant, then you set this as non-entry. If this is an event, typically a rough stock event where there is stock assigned or stock is drawn, then you would check this box. And then these are all selections for various different ways to include or exclude the event in the all-around standings for this event. There is also a box here to enter a judge's card message. If you enter some information in here, typically this would be instructions to the judges on how to score this particular event. And this will appear at the top of the judges' cards for this event only. Once you have made changes, such as changing this to, let's just put 2 L's in here to see the effect, to barrel racing, you would simply click Submit, and now you will see that we have changed barrel racing to a misspelling, but for the purposes of the demo, you can see how that works. As soon as you click that Save button, then those settings are saved. So next we will have a look at rodeos and setting up rodeos. The reason we look at events first is that in order to be included in a rodeo, the event must must exist first. So to manage rodeos, you would go to Rodeo Setup, Manage Rodeos. And this will initially show you the list of all the rodeos you have in the system for this season. So the process to set up a rodeo is very similar to how you set up the event, which is filling out a form and saving a form, or clicking the button to edit something, which is typically how most of your interaction with rodeo management system will be. It's a series of forms and submissions, and the way that rodeo management system is built, you should never have to enter the same data twice. Once it's stored in the database, it is available to be used as needed. So you can see we have our 4 rodeos, as we mentioned in the introduction. Demo 1 is a rodeo that has been completed, and it has everything turned on. Demo 2 is the rodeo that is currently underway that we're taking entries for. Demo 3 and Demo 4 are both rodeos for the future. So we'll have a look at this as well by clicking the name of the rodeo, and that allows us to edit it. So as we look at the different fields here, the rodeo name, the location, which state or province it's located in. By default, it will show the season that it is in. And then we have some of the settings that start to get used within the system here. So start date and end date. So your first date for events in the rodeo, your last date. So if it happens to be on a weekend, such as a Saturday and a Sunday, you would show it this way. The entry open date. So this is the date when online entries can start to get entered. And in this case, it is May 12th starting at 8 a.m. The entry close date and entry close time, after which online entries will not be accepted, or they're not even available online anymore after that point. So then we have a number of selections here for displaying different rodeo information, and we'll get more into this as we work through the demo as we get into later chapters. But essentially, these 4 boxes here give you control over what is going to be available to be viewed on the public side. You can also lock a rodeo. So if you lock a rodeo, that means that only the super admin has access and only the super admin can unlock. So if you have other members within your association who work on rodeos as well, you can lock them so that they can't be changed or adjusted without the super admin allowing access to it again. You can cancel a rodeo, and what that does is simply set all fees owed to 0, so that it doesn't show up as money to be owed by the members. Calculate averages. This is for multi-go rodeos, so you can set it to yes or no. And typically how this is used is a lot of associations will set it to no during the rodeo when they're completing the first go, so that it doesn't calculate the average and raise a bunch of questions as to why the average is being calculated. Usually if it's a 2-go rodeo with an average, after they fill in the scores and the times for the second go, then they would turn this on so that the average would be calculated as well. So some specific settings here: you can exclude a rodeo from the rodeo counts, so it doesn't count towards the members' attendance. You can exclude this rodeo from the season standings, and you can also set it so that specific types of members and which types are actually selected elsewhere, but they are excluded from the results, as in they cannot actually be paid any winnings from this. If it is a dual approved rodeo, as in you are the lead association and other associations will co-approve this rodeo, then you would enter that association in here. If you are not the lead association and another association is, so the reverse of the above, that you are co-approving this with another association, then you would enter that association's name or abbreviation in here. You can also set it so that the notification emails for this rodeo go to someone other than the default. And per-go entry selections are a specific setting, something that if you need them, we will help you set them up. So now we get into some of the real important parts of setting up a rodeo formats. So a standard rodeo is one in which typically there is one go per entry, or there is each member or each entrant would run once within that event. And this can happen over multiple performances. So you may have half the entrants run in performance 1, half may run in performance 2. And so if that's the case, you would simply put the dates and times of these performances. And you can set slack performances as well. So you can have up to 8 performances, and any one of those could be, any one or multiple could be a slack performance. This particular example, we have it set as a 2-go rodeo. So go 1 is going to happen on the 22nd at 2 o'clock, and go 2 is going to happen on the 23rd at 3 p.m. So a multi-go rodeo simply means that for each entrant in an event, they will actually run in that event and receive a score or a time multiple times. And so as you can see, we have formats for 2-go, 2-go plus average, 3-go plus average, 4-go plus average, a long go and a short go, and a long go, short go plus average. So depending on the format you choose, you would simply fill in the appropriate dates and times for those goes. Now, one of the requirements of rodeo management system is that in a multi-go rodeo, we still need to have some information for performance 1. Now, this will be set by default for this date. It will automatically, when you set up the rodeo and you enter a date for your rodeo start date, it will automatically fill performance 1 in here. Don't clear that out. That is information that for technical reasons the system still needs to have a performance in the system. That's just one of the ways it works. So then we get into the events section of setting up a rodeo. So as I said, you have to have your events set up before you can include them in the rodeo. And if it is a new rodeo, what will happen is any events that you have in the system, when you start a new rodeo, it is going to automatically include them. And then if it's something that is not included, you would simply go and turn that off. So you can include or exclude, as I said, just by check boxes. The purse amount is any money added to the event in addition to entry fees. If you are using rodeo-specific entry fees, you can change that number here. Initially, it would be pre-filled with the default entry fee that you set along with the event, but we can change that to another number. If you will permit more than one entry per member within a particular event in this rodeo, you can set that as we have done here. The default is 1. If there is a max number of entries per rodeo for this event, not per member, but for this event. So, for example, if you will only allow up to a maximum of 10 bareback riders in this event, then you set that number to 10. Otherwise, the 0 means ignore this setting. So if you set it to 10, once there have been 10 entries for this rodeo in this event, it will no longer show this event on the entry form. You can also set the order in which these events appear on the draw, judges cards, etc. If it's different from the default draw sort order that you set at the event level, if there's no changes to be made, then you would simply leave it as 99, which is the default here, and it will use what you set globally. So you can also select a stock contractor, and your list of stock contractors will be dependent upon some things we'll be talking about in a later chapter, which is managing your stock database. So you can select who that stock contractor is. In some cases, you can have multiple stock contractors. And then the rest of these fields really are fields that you can use as needed. If you fill something in, let's say something like buckles to top 3 places, then that information will appear alongside this field title on the rodeo schedule display on the public side. If you leave it blank, then it will be skipped and won't be displayed. So there's multiple different field names, and these for the most part are because different associations would like it to be called different things. So that's how those have ended up there. Once you have finished with your settings, you simply click the Save Rodeo Settings, and all of those changes are now included within that rodeo. One very important example we want to show you is that when you add a new event, after you have already set up your rodeo, it will not automatically be included in any rodeos, and you'll have to manually add that to the event. As we said, when you add a new rodeo, it will include any events that you have. But if you add a new event, then it will not be included in any of these rodeos you've already set up. So what we will do is we will go to Manage Events and show you how this works. And we will add a new event, and we will call it Junior Pole Bending, and we will put it as number 14. We will charge $50 for this. This will be a timed event, and penalties will apply, and we don't need any other settings right now. We'll click Submit. And so now if we go down the list, we will see Junior Pole Bending is on our list. We will now go to Manage Rodeos, going back to rodeo demo number 2 here, and we will scroll down to the event area, and we will see Junior Pole Bending. As I said, it is not selected because it was a new event, so it's not automatically added. So in order to add this to this rodeo, we simply turn it on and scroll to the bottom and click Save Rodeos, and now it has been added for that rodeo. So that is the end of our second chapter, and our next chapter we will be talking about setting up admin fees. So we will see you soon in chapter 3.